Welcome everyone. I'm very happy to share my resource library for supporting dual language learners in early childhood education. This project reflects a culmination of the insights I've gained throughout this course. Working with DLLs has been a passion of mine because I truly believe in the power of embracing diversity in our classrooms. My goal for this library is to equip educators, families, and program leaders with practical tools and strategies to make a difference. Let's begin. So first of all, my name is Jessica Sanes. This library represents not just a collection of resources, but a roadmap for creating more inclusive, equitable, and supportive environments for DLLs. I've built this library with my own classroom experiences in mind, but it's also versatile enough for others in the field of early childhood education. Whether you're an educator, director, or family member of a DLL, I hope these resources provide clarity, inspiration, and practical strategies to empower your work. In this slide, I outline 3 key areas from my resource library: child screening and assessments, teaching and the learning environment, and curricula. Each of these areas plays a crucial role in shaping my future practice as an early childhood educator. Child screenings and assessments are foundational for understanding and meeting the needs of DLLs, ensuring equitable opportunities for growth. Teaching and the learning environment emphasize the importance of creating welcoming, language-rich spaces where DLLs feel empowered and supported. Finally, curricula tie everything together, ensuring that learning experiences are culturally and linguistically responsive. These areas not only reflect my commitment to advocating for DLLs, but also provide actionable strategies to create meaningful learning opportunities for every child. Let's begin. Effective screenings and assessments are about more than just collecting data. They are about understanding each child's unique journey. With DLLs, it's crucial to recognize that their linguistic development will look different from monolingual peers. Using assessments that honor their home, language, and culture is essential to creating a clear picture of their abilities, which ultimately help us provide the tailored support they need. Effective assessments for DLLs should respect their home language and culture, offering a complete picture of their abilities. This is a quote I chose from Head Start. This quote resonates with me because it shifts our perspective from deficit-based thinking to strength-based understanding. By valuing a child's home language and culture, we acknowledge the richness they bring to the classroom. This mindset has transformed how I approach assessments in my own teaching practice. It reminds me that every child's story matters, and that assessments are tools to highlight potential, not just track progress. Here are the resources for screening and assessments. Each of these resources has been instrumental in helping me understand the nuances of assessing DLLs. For instance, the Culturally Responsive Guide taught me how to avoid biases in assessments. The Head Start guidelines provided me with a framework for incorporating families into the assessment process. And the Supporting Dual Language Learners Through Assessment strategy opened my eyes to common pitfalls and how to address them. Together, these resources create a well-rounded approach to screening and assessments. Resource Spotlight Culturally Responsive Assessment. This guide became a game changer for me. It pushed me to reflect on how my own biases might unintentionally affect assessments, and motivated me to integrate practices that respect each child's background. I've since implemented strategies like involving families in the assessment process and using tools that account for bilingual development. These changes have not only improved my teaching but also strengthened my relationship with families. Number 2, teaching and learning environment. Creating an inclusive environment goes beyond just having diverse materials. It's about fostering a space where DLLs feel they belong. In my classroom, this has meant incorporating bilingual signage, using visual aids, and being intentional about celebrating cultural diversity. These small yet significant changes help DLLs feel confident and capable in their learning journey. The quote I chose for this one is, "Inclusive environments for DLLs should blend linguistic scaffolds with culturally meaningful materials," from Espinosa and Magruder, 2009. This quote highlights the importance of intentional design in learning environments. It reminds me that every detail in a classroom, from the books on the shelves to the language I use, can either support or hinder a child's growth. This idea motivates me to continually evaluate and improve my classroom setup. Here's the overview of the 3 resources for learning environments. I used 10 ways to create a language-rich classroom, supporting multilingual development, Illinois' Early Learning Guide. Each resource in this section brings a unique perspective. The language-rich classroom blog offers actionable tips I've already implemented, like bilingual labeling. The multilingual development article gave me a deeper understanding of how to scaffold language learning, and the Illinois guide showed me how to integrate cultural respect into daily routines. The resource spotlight I chose is 10 easy ways to cultivate a language-rich environment in your classroom. This resource is incredibly practical for creating a language-rich classroom. The 10 strategies provided are easy to implement and impactful for supporting DLLs in developing their language skills. I will focus on storytelling and using dual language labels to bridge home and classroom learning. These align perfectly with my goal of creating an inclusive, supportive environment for all learners. Let's move on to the curricula. Curricula are the foundation of effective education, especially for dual language learners. By embedding culturally and linguistically responsive practices into the curriculum, we ensure that DLLs feel represented and supported in their learning. This fosters not only academic growth, but also a sense of belonging and self-worth. In my future career, I will prioritize curricula that celebrate diversity, align with best practices, and meet the unique needs of DLLs, creating an inclusive and equitable classroom environment. The quote I chose for this one is, "Effective curricula for dual language learners incorporate cultural and linguistic diversity as a strength, fostering inclusivity and providing meaningful opportunities for both academic and social emotional development." This is from Espinosa and Magruder as well, 2009. This quote is perfect because it highlights the critical role of curricula in supporting DLLs. It emphasizes that integrating cultural and linguistic diversity is not just beneficial, but essential for creating inclusive and supportive learning environments. In my practice, this quote inspires me to view the home languages and cultures of my students as assets to be celebrated and incorporated into the learning experience. This mindset will guide me in designing lessons that are both equitable and engaging, ensuring all students feel valued and empowered. This is the overview of the 3 resources for curriculum: cultural responsive teaching strategies, multilingual children bring joyful learning to your pre-K3 classroom, choose play, effective instructional practices, examples and practice shifts for early childhood education teachers. Cultural responsive teaching strategies. This guide resonates with my goal of designing a curriculum that celebrates cultural diversity. It offers practical methods to create an inclusive learning environment that incorporates students' unique cultural backgrounds into the teaching process. I see myself using it to ensure all students feel valued and supported in my classroom. Choose play. Play is such a vital tool for language development, and this resource aligns with my belief in using joyful and engaging activities to foster learners. It reinforces how games and culturally relevant play can bridge language gaps while involving families, ensuring students thrive both linguistically and socially. Effective instructional practices. This resource provides actionable steps for creating a classroom environment that champions bilingualism and family collaboration. I plan to adopt its recommendations to design a bilingual curriculum and cultivate an atmosphere where every child's linguistic identity is honored. My spotlight for this one is culturally responsive teaching strategies. This resource really stood out to me because it aligns perfectly with my goal of fostering inclusivity in my classroom. I love how it provides practical strategies for integrating cultural and linguistic diversity into teaching. For instance, I can adapt my lesson plans to include real-life cultural examples that my students can relate to. This approach not only supports their learning, but also strengthens their sense of identity and belonging. I see myself referring back to this resource frequently as I build and refine my teaching practices. Thank you so much for taking the time to explore my resource library. Each resource was thoughtfully selected to support DLLs in meaningful ways. I hope this presentation has sparked ideas for your own work with DLLs. Please feel free to share feedback or suggestions on additional resources I can include. Together, we can create even more effective and inclusive educational environments for our students. And in this slide, you will see the references that I use. Each one has been carefully selected for its credibility, relevance, and practical application in supporting DLLs. Thank you for engaging with my presentation. Bye-bye.